Hi everyone, and welcome to our virtual puppet club for this week. It is Friday. It is time for us to build puppets, and today we are going to be building rod and stick puppets. For this project, you are going to need, I've got all sorts of stuff in front of me, a long stick like a paint stirring stick. You're going to need a rod, either a dowel, or you can even use a chopstick. A chopstick might work as well for that. You will also need, let's see, some construction paper, a circle for the face. I cut out my face using a CD as a template, traced around it and cut it out if you don't have a circle at home. You are going to need all sorts of construction paper for the body, some decorations. You know, I have leftover feathers from our sock puppets last week. You can use some leftover feathers. You're going to need some googly eyes, your pom-poms, and as well as 2 brads. And the brads are, I can just take them out of the bag here. The brads are these little silver thing, or silver or gold. Ours are gold in the packets, but you can pick them up at any store that has office supplies. So let's see here. I'm going to grab out my things here. The other things you're going to need are markers or crayons, trusty crayons, a glue stick, a hole punch. Now, if you don't have a hole punch, what you can do is poke a hole with the end of your brads or with a pencil and just make it wide enough for it to go through. So you need a hole punch, masking tape, and I think I did glue stick already, but I'm going to reiterate, you'll need glue sticks as well. Now, if you don't have a CD to trace for the face, the other thing it's a good shape for is using that masking tape roll to cut that out. So let's get started with building our puppet. Now, the first thing you're going to want to do is make the body of your character. And for this, I'm using some of the fancy paper that was in my kit. You can use pattern paper, or you can just use plain old-fashioned construction paper if you want. I have a lot of construction paper left over from the other projects that we did. I'm going to use the pattern paper here, and I'm going to make my body, and you're going to look at your rod and you're going to eyeball. You don't have to exact. Find where your middle part of where your or where your stick is, your paint stick is. And then from there you're going to draw kind of like, if you want to do the top here and come down, that side looks a little wider than the other side, so I'm going to make that like that, so that you're going to draw so that you have kind of a half curve, half circle, half oval. And I need scissors. Cut that out because that'll be the body. So we've got a half shape here for our body. That'll go on our stick. And we also need arms for our character. Now, one of these arms is going to be what you call articulated. Using these brads, it'll be made to move. The other will stay steady. So we need to make our arms, and the way to make our arms is, and again, you can use your stick as a guide here. I'm actually going to trace my stick to start with here, down to that middle point. I'm going to do that twice. I'll do it on either side. It's the whole economy of using paper, that you can use different parts of paper. Save a tree for another day, right? All right. Now, because one of these arms is going to move, we're going to do a second one of these next to it. overlapping just a little bit so I know where I'm sitting. So we're only going to do about from here down, so from the bend down. And we'll do that again from that bend here. So you end up with something looking like this drawn on your paper. Then you're going to cut them out. There's a lot of cutting involved in this. You may need a little bit of help with it, or you can work on those skills. One piece. And I'm going to keep, because we have our long and short pieces, I'm going to keep them together as pairs as I'm going along here just to keep things organized. Now, because I've got big pieces of paper in my way, I'm going to cut that out of the way just so that it's easier for me to maneuver my scissors. One arm there, and then we've got the second part of the arm. All right, I'm going to get that paper out of the way. So we've got our arms now, we've got our body. And one of these arms is not going to move. You get to decide. This is the front. Do you want them to be left-handed moving or right-handed moving? You get to decide on those movements. So I'm going to make mine right-handed, so I'm just going to glue this one arm down. I'm going to glue it at a bend so that it has kind of an elbow. We'll leave the other arms for now. And we're going to get our hole punch, figure out where our shoulder is going to be. I'm going to make my shoulder, if you've got your top here, about a little, like about from your thumb knuckle down, if you're looking for exact measurement. Poke a hole in there, and then I'm going to punch a hole up here in the paper and down here. And actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm going to line up my arm and punch both of them at the same time. See how it's lined up there? So that the holes are lined up there. We can go ahead and take one of those brads and put it in that hole there. And you want to make sure it's not too tight so that it moves. And then we'll attach the shoulder up at top here with another one. All right, so we got the body, we got that arm with its one movable side here. You notice I can move it any direction here, but we still have more details to work out on this. So the next thing, you notice we haven't attached it to our stick yet. We'll get to that. We need to put some hands on our character, and I think I am going to make their hands. I've got this lovely yellow paper that kind of goes with that, and you can draw your hands any way you want. If you just want to do circles for the hands, you can do that. Let's see, I think I will do a circle, and I think what I'll do to draw my circle is I'm going to kind of eyeball on either side of my fingers, of my finger here, kind of a cross pattern if you look, like an X, and then draw the circle. Does it have to be exact? No. Now, if you don't want to make a person, if you want to make an alien or something like that, you can. Now, Miss Heather's secret, if she wants something to look the same on both sides, she folds paper in half, then cuts two pieces at the same time. So see, it's not on the edge, so I'll be cutting outside so it won't be joined together. Because if you cut right on the edge, it's going to be cut together. Alright, so we've got some circles for some hands for the body here, which we can glue on. And again, you'll notice I like, and you don't have to do it the same way, I like to actually just take my piece of paper and rub it on my big ol' glue stick here, but you can do it any way you like it. Alright, now we got some hands on the body. Now it's time to go to our head. And we want to make sure that the head is attached, and I'm actually going to use masking tape to attach the head on top here. You want to make sure that it does not, move this out of the way, does not stop the arm from moving. So you're going to have to put it up a little higher and then tape it down. And I'm using tape for this because I want it to stick really well. And go right across the top there. Now what happens if a little bit of tape is showing on the outside? Well, you can just tear that away or use scissors to remove it. So we've got our head on here, and see I attached it along there, and the arm still moves, which is good. Alright, so we've got our head here. We've got our googly eyes, because we need some silly googly eyes. These googly eyes that are in your kits are peel and stick, but you may need a grown-up with some good nails to remove the backs of the googly eyes. So we got 1, 2. We got 2 eyes on there. I'm going to get my crayons out. Decided I wanted to do crayons today. And you can draw a nose on your character, or if you want to use one of your puff balls as a nose. That's actually, I was going to draw a nose on. I think the puff ball looks pretty funny, so I'm actually going to do the puff ball. You're going to need a lot of glue on that. Remember, get that a lot of that glue on there. I can see purple on it. That'll dry clear, but I know it'll help stick on that puff ball onto the nose. But I'm going to use this to make the mouth, and you could do a smiley face, or maybe I'll have them kind of laughing. with a silly face like that. And then you can take some of that plentiful colored paper. I think I'm going to have them have blue hair. And you can make some hair for your character. Now, one way that you can help guide along your hair, if you need a little help, is you can outline your head. Now, you don't want it to just go right along the outline of the head because then it won't overlap any. So we're going to outline our head. And then we're going to go on the inside, and maybe I want it to have a little bit of shape to it. That might be a little close to the eyes. We'll see. And I'm going to add that over the top. And then I think I'm going to give my silly character some pigtails. So I'm going to draw some pigtails on there. So I've drawn some hair for there, and remember, you have that curve of the head, and you just need to be sure that it's going to cover or be on part of the head so it'll stick. Cut that out. I can draw upside down, but cutting out upside down is not as easy. All right. Now I still have pencil marks, and if you don't want to see your pencil marks, you can either take an eraser and erase them, or flip the hair over so we've got pencil marks. I can flip it over, and look, I don't see pencil marks anymore. I think that'll work for my character there that I'm creating. I might trim up, it's awfully close to their eyes, so I'm going to trim up just a little bit. And you can make this all your own. I have been really enjoying seeing the Puppet Club pictures that come in and seeing how each and every one of you is kind of doing your own thing with these crafts and these projects. I love that. I love seeing creativity. I really enjoy seeing what you come up with. So I'd love to see if you could come up with, you don't even have to have it be a person, it could be anything, what kind of wildness you can come up with. So this is our basic puppet. And now it's time. Now you can decorate. You could put some more puff balls. I'm actually going to just put the puff ball to the side for now. I don't think I'm going to use any more puff balls or googly eyes today. So I'll put them back in my bag. But you can color. So maybe, let's see, maybe I want her to have green hair ties. And again, if you've got some of those feathers from the last time, you could put some feathers on them as well. You could add a couple feathers maybe to the top if you were making a bird character instead. Once you're done decorating and everything is dried, it is time to flip over the puppet. She's not sitting completely flat because of the nose I put on her. We've got our stick, remember? We are going to put it on the back of our puppet. And this is where that masking tape comes in again. And you're going to put a piece of masking tape that's big enough to cover both the stick and go along the bottom there quite a ways. It doesn't have to go all the way to the edges, but to cover it so that it's going to stay on there. I'm going to use my scissors to set that up right there. You're going to need to put some at the top as well. And again, if it's peeking out, you can either tear it, or if it won't tear, like that one won't tear, you can use scissors to trim it off. And then I might put one more piece of tape right in the center. So that you got 3 pieces of tape holding that puppet on there. And then we've got that arm that moves. And what we need for that, buried underneath all my crayons here, is your dowel or your chopstick. And what you're going to do is, remember that hand we made? We're going to tape it to that hand. And I'm actually going to flip it over again so that you can see it's the hand with all the brads on it. And you're going to tape it on there. These are leftover dowels from when we made wizarding wands last year. That was a fun, fun time. All right, so it's taped on there really good. And now you've got a rod and stick puppet that you can wave. You could make her yawn, raise up high, down low, reach for something, bring it back in. So you can play around. When you watch like Sesame Street and other puppet TV shows, those are variations on the rod and stick because the hands are on a rod, and usually it's a stick or the arm and the puppet underneath. So she can wave. You can do all sorts of performances with this. You could sing a song, or you could do some kind of rhyme. Like you could do the Grand Old Duke of York. Oh, the Grand Old Duke of York, he had 10,000 men. He marched 'em up to the top of the hill and marched 'em down again. And when they're up, they're up. And when they're down, they're down. And when they're only halfway up, they're neither up nor down. So you can do any kind of rhyme with that. As long as you have fun, create some fun things. If you have a family member or somebody else who builds one with you, you could do bad knock-knock jokes, such as, knock, knock, who's there? The cow goes. The cow goes, who? No, the cow goes moo, silly. That's a terrible joke. But you could do jokes back and forth with your characters as well. Have fun. I can't wait to see what you create with these lovely rod and stick puppets. We'll see you next week.